I am live, I think. Oh, yeah. Am I live? I am live. Excellent. So, yeah, come on in, Chris, and feel free to jump in the regular way, and I will see you soon. Chris? I just didn't hear you. I was like, I said something. Did he not hear me? Hello? All right. I'll see you in a bit. All right. This is the preamble rambling of this video that I often do, and I just kind of go crazy and ramble and all that other kind of stuff. And um, generally, nobody really cares about. So it's all good. Um, yeah. So, hope everybody out there is having a wonderful day. Um, just a fantastic lead up into the weekend. And yeah, it's definitely been an interesting week for me. To quote one of my favorite movies, define interesting. Oh God, we're all going to die. I'm kidding, of course, it hasn't been that bad. But I just wanted to quote the movie. Yeah, wow. You'd think I'd be more talkative considering how talkative I usually am. Um, what is there to talk about? Let's see. We can talk about the fact that this is going to be episode number 4. Yeah, we are on day 24 of the Kickstarter, but let's not jump that far in yet. I haven't even given myself my introduction. Haven't introduced my game company. I know we're 2 minutes in, but we're still like drastically early for the video. I say drastically early for the video, even though we only have 7 minutes to go, 6 minutes to go. Uh, depending on what clock I look at. So yeah, and just so you know, I actually have a script to go by tonight. Um, so there is no forgetting of notes, and I am trying to get that screen set up so I can still see the stats of everything. And there we go. Nice little scrolling capability there. All right, I'm gonna get another monitor so that I can just like go, here's my script. I can still look up at the camera easily, all that other good stuff. But that's not tonight now, is it, folks? Nope. That's all right. You'll have to forgive me. Like, literally, you'll have to forgive me because nothing that can be done about it right now. But for those of you that have watched these videos enough now, you know that I like to say stuff before the video actually gets started. So now that we're at the 5 minute mark, what I want to say for this video is for those of you that have not had the opportunity to read the game book yet, there's an organization called TOPS, also known as Twilight Ops. And they are basically a police force that handle the Aethers specifically. We're going to be talking about them a little bit tonight, just a little bit. And I wanted to let you know that it's something that's going to be coming up a lot more as we start doing these Q&As. Tops has, of course, been in the game for like the longest time because It's an organization that I had in my games prior to this. And I was like, I like the organization enough. I like all my NPCs. I'm just going to convert it into, or bring it into Aether Blood Chronicles. So I did. And we're going to be talking about the Aether Files contents and stuff, and how that works in with the Tops or Twilight Ops stuff. And, we shall see. But as it is, we have 4 minutes. Pizza Dude's got 4 minutes. Yes, indeed. Indeedy-roo. Yep. I could have swore Christopher was coming in here soon. I don't know if Michael's going to be able to make it because he got stuck up at work. Jonah said that he was going to be coming in here. Jonah being one of the other writers. I know he's been in here a couple of times. I don't know if any other backers are going to be in here besides Chris. But it will at least be, the 3 of us, possibly 4 of us once Michael gets home and gets situated. I'm not counting on Michael being here, but it would be really nice if he could show up. We have big plans with Michael. Michael's got a character that's going to be in the comic strip that he's been creating this character for this comic strip that we're going to have as the intro to the finished project of the book, or finished product of the book. And that's because we figured comic book role-playing game, instead of just doing vignette after vignette after vignette, we're actually going to do like a 5 to 6, maybe 7 or 8 page comic strip right there in the beginning to kind of illustrate just sort of the things that can happen in the game. And I haven't sat down and written that script yet, but I'm planning on getting to it here soon. I just had to get to a certain point to where I was ready, and he just finished the vignette talking about the history of the character that he created. So now that I've seen that, I can start working on the script and get back to my artist, who's probably pulling his hair out of his head going, where is the information? I want to write this, because he's super excited to write this. Which is just fantastic for me to have people that are honestly looking forward to working on this project with me. And I am realizing that I have not set up this stream correctly. I'm glad I did this beforehand. Paste, save, because that was a 2-minute save. We had 2 minutes to go until this thing kicked in, and I just managed to squeeze in the fix. Wow. It pays to be at least a little bit observant to your surroundings, just a little bit. Okay, well, here we are, counting down the final 45 seconds or 30 seconds or however long. I don't know, because I don't have second hands on any of my clocks. But we are about to go live, and I am all by myself. Oh, my goodness, whatever will I do? All right, here we go. Like I said, I don't have any second hands on any of my clocks around here. I have no idea. I'm just going to have to be very explosive here in just a second whenever it does turn over. But it hasn't turned over yet. We're still watching the clock. It isn't changing. There we go. All right, we are live. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me today. Again, as always, hopefully it will forever remain the same. I am Edic Padraig. I am the project manager of Haphazard Projects, and I am the lead developer for the Aetherblood Chronicles. I almost forgot the name of my game. That's kind of bad. Regardless, here we are on day 24 of this backer kit project. And I just gotta put a word out here real quick. I've seen that Backer Kit has been posting some things about my project. I don't know if they're automated or what, but I just want to thank Backer Kit for having such things that they put out there like that, even for little updates that I make. I did not know this was something until I saw it just the other day. So thank you guys for having that and, you know, kind of showing us around like that. It's really appreciated because that would be work that I'd have to do if I were using, say, a different platform, which thankfully I'm not. No names being called. I'm just glad I'm not using them. So, yeah, this is episode 4 of the Night of Lore. Yeah, I got a little rhyme scheme going on. I like it a lot. So episode 4, we're going to be talking about the miracle that is Miracle. Quite a divisive character in the game and out of game. She may cause some I don't know what you say, very solid opinions. I'll just leave it at that. At the fact of who she is and what she stands for and everything, and why is she in a superhero game, et cetera, et cetera. But for now, I am wondering where my friend Christopher is. But regardless, I don't think we're going to be able to wait for him for the time being. And that is not the window I needed. I needed the script. There. Come on, give me my script. That is not the script I'm looking for. We're going to lower this down. I am going to shoot a message to Christopher real quick, and then we will be getting on with things. Waiting on you, buddy. All right, let's get this. Let's kind of get this stuff started because I got stuff I can talk about here before he shows up. So somebody just showed up. Maybe it's Christopher. I don't know. We'll find out soon enough. But the first thing I want to talk about here before our first visitor even reveals themselves to us, we are 6 days away from 1 month into this project. Can you believe that? 6 days away from 1 month of this we've got 3 more months going in on this. No, it's Chris. Chris, how are you doing? There you are, man. I was wondering what was taking you so long. And we got somebody else in here as well. Let's see. I don't know if you feel comfortable telling us who you are. I'm assuming it's Jonah. But you never know. Maybe Michael's here. Yeah, it's Jonah. Awesome. All right. So, I was just saying before you guys showed up, it's 6 days until the end of the first month of this campaign. You know, when you do backer kits and things like this, it kind of becomes a numbers game, and you fumble around figuring out how many days it's been since this, and what is your growth rate, and what is your number of backers, and how that all correlates to one another. But we're 6 days away from 1 month in. We are 24 days in. And I keep getting distracting messages from my email. I'm gonna have to like figure out a way to shut that down. They're popping up saying you've got email, and I don't care. So anyway, the reason I mentioned the 6-day event, we've got 6 days. For those of you that have seen things on the videos, that have seen things that I've said, that it was mentioned that the first 100 backers 1 month into this project would receive the Ashcan version of this game for free to play the game before it was released. So there are 27 of you that, some of you might have it already, but there are 27 of you that are about to get this. The full Ashcan. Well, not the full Ashcan. The Ashcan we have for the game thus far. Let me tell you a little bit about what that entails. Okay. That's going to entail complete character creation rules for the Agnati, for yourself, for psychics, and super soldiers. It's also going to give you the baselines for mutations, and it will also have in there the baselines for all sorts of cybernetics and bionic systems, unique cybernetic packaging systems, the 70 plus superpowers, the more than 20 forms of real world martial arts built into the game. You're going to have all that at your fingertips and a lot more. There are a couple of alien races in there that kind of outline, what you can play. You can even play those as it stands. You don't have the full rules in that book. It's meant to be a preview for the Ashcan. And a lot of the material presented in there is just an outline of stuff that we will be working on finishing for the core book. But the basics of the game are there. You will be able to play the Aetherblood Chronicles with just what we have in those 270 pages. Now, remember, it's an Ashcan, so it doesn't have any artwork. That's what the whole point of this project is for, to raise an artwork budget for a new version of the book that we will be putting out in April of next year. All right, cool. Moving on. The new character sheets, Christopher and I looked over these. We found a few small glitches that are being addressed literally between now and the next video that we'll be doing. They look fantastic. They work perfectly with the exception of the few glitches that we found. I'm just really looking forward to being able to share those with you guys. As of right now, you can actually go on Roll20 and set up a game for the Aetherblood Chronicles. Find that character sheet in the drop down for what character sheet do you want to use. Set up your game and start running your game right now, if you don't mind a slightly buggy character sheet, which will be corrected within the next week. That's pretty freaking awesome. Okay, the game, this project is not even 30 days in, and we already have that. People can sit down and play the game in Roll20 with fully manipulative character sheets. Awesome, awesome stuff. All right, so I want to reiterate a few more things. I want to reiterate some of the rewards that we have upcoming. The first ones being the posters and the GM screen insert arts. So far, we have we're going to be doing posters for the Monotone, Anguish, Miracle, Sick Pyros, Verdant, Prime, Horizon Fold, Negative Frank, and Pale. And we also unlocked 4 additional GM inserts for the GM screens of Xenifer, Whipster, Voltiac, and the Zealot. Maybe if we get more backers, we can get more artwork produced for that. So just wanted to update you on that. Right now, that's what we have so far for that. I just got a message from Michael. He will be joining us just a tad bit late. So that's awesome to have him here. The next thing I wanted to talk about, I'm trying to get this towards the Q&A as quickly as possible. But the next things I want to mention are the power cards, which if you've read all the backer reward tiers of X number of backers equals this reward. That's what I'm talking about here. The power cards are one of those that were mentioned but never discussed. So we're going to take a quick minute to discuss them. What the power cards are going to be. It's going to be a deck of cards. Each card is going to be specific to one power in the game, to where you have an illustration on one side, and on the other side, you've got all of the text for that power. So literally, if you have that power, you just draw that card, you lay it in front of you while you're playing. You don't have to go pushing through the book or anything like that. If you're playing in a face-to-face game, boom, you've got it right there. Of course, if you play online, you have access to the character sheet. You can copy and paste from your PDFs into your game for Roll20s. Not big deal whatsoever. But the power cards are there for face-to-face games. You just pull out the ones for the powers you have. Maybe if your friends have powers and you don't have duplicate powers, you can do the same for them. These decks of cards are going to be available probably here pretty soon. So we just need to push forward to get more backers. The final thing I want to mention as far as these backer reward levels is the Aether Files. The Aether Files is something I've talked about and I've mentioned here a couple of times here recently. The Aether Files were intended to be a package that literally contains dossiers. The dossiers would have the character sheet, a full 4-page character sheet printed out. It would have 8x11 character art. Haven't decided yet if that's going to be in color or if that's going to be in black and white. Probably going to be in color because I know my artist really wants to do colored artwork. And then the vignettes and short stories that we're going to be writing about each character will go in there as well. And then this is where earlier on, before everybody got here, and we have somebody else here. Excellent. Welcome, and thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. I mentioned before we even got started tonight something about Twilight Operations, TOPS, as it's known in game. It's a policing force for Aethers. So we're going to, I am, with a little bit of help from my friends, we are going to write up dossiers that are from the perspective of Twilight Ops agents about each and every one of the Aethers that we're going to have in the book. And we're going to do these files for every 4-color character in the book, including the ones made by the backers with the add-on that specifically allows them to do just that. So Christopher, when we make your character here this weekend or Wednesday, whenever we do it, your character that you make will be in this dossier package. It's going to be big. And I cannot stress how pumped I am to be able to see this as a final product. So yeah, it's kind of like the old G.I. Joe cards, but this is going to literally be a folder that is going to have all this information in it. You open up the folder, you almost as if that was your player character, and it's going to have the art, it's going to have the character sheet, it's going to have a dossier, like several pages of a dossier to give you background information onto that character, all sorts of stuff like that. But yes, it's basically an expanded G.I. Joe index card. in essence. So yeah, that's a good way to put it, Chris. Thank you very much. The last thing I want to mention real quick here, and I know I say real quick here, but then again, we're only 16, 15, 16 minutes in to the live stream. We've got plenty of time. Why am I rushing things? I should take a breath. Okay, moving on. Random reward at 30 backers. We just need 3 more backers before we do the random reward. And this one is huge. It is basically, I would say, $100 value. Okay. When we hit 30 backers, we will do a random reward, a random drawing to see which backer, along with 3 of their friends, will play in a full 4-hour session run by yours truly, myself. And we're probably gonna try and stream it, and we will record it in 4 1-hour blocks, and that will be my present to everybody so that they can see how the game is played. I think that sounds like a lot of fun. I think it sounds like an incredible value, considering the fact you could back the project at $1 and end up with this random reward. That's pretty freaking epic. I would love to see somebody win that reward and just enjoy it the way that I enjoy these sessions. The way that all of my playtesters have enjoyed it. Everybody that's played it at conventions, I mean, it's time for people to be able to play this game. And I am ready and willing and able to sit down and share this and me run this for you at virtually no cost except for your initial input for your reward tier or your pledge tier. I think that's pretty awesome. Why don't you tell me what you think in the comments? We've got 4 people now watching the stream. Hello to everyone. I really appreciate you coming out for this. There's just a lot of information to go through. We've got a whole bunch that I'm looking forward to sharing with everybody. But here we are at the 18-minute mark in, and I need to get more comfortable. I'm going to be here for a little while. 18 minutes in, 19 minutes in, whichever clock I'm looking at. We're about to start the Miracle Q&A. Now, the basics of who Miracle is. I wish I could throw up some character art, but I'm still learning OBS, and I don't know how to shift all the images back and forth, or OSB or whatever it's called. I can't remember. OBS. That sounds like something else that's pretty terrible. I can't remember. But I don't know how to shift images around and whatnot. So actually, wait, what is this? Is this share screen? Let me do something real quick. I will set this up and show you the artwork that we have so far for Miracle. How's that sound? That hasn't been something that I've done yet. So we're going to go to Aether Blood Arts. We're going to go through my directory. We're going to pull up the final art of Miracle. And we'll have it up here just as soon as my computer decides to load it up. We need to shrink this down to a decent percentage. Where it can be hello. That's a little bit too small. I need it a little bit bigger than that. Not that big though. It's not letting me get it to a decent size. That's a decent size. All right, so now we're going to get this. And I swear to you, I am almost done. I know in a live stream, Silent minutes where you're not doing anything are bad minutes, but hopefully I've gotten this done in less than a minute. All right. So I'm going to share my screen real quick so you can see who I'm talking about here. And it's not giving me, wait a minute, window. Yeah, here we go. So here we go. Yay, it popped up. I'm kind of cool and can do stuff. I have skills. Um, skills that might have been relevant like 20 years ago. I don't know. So here is this original sketch of Miracle. You'll see that she has that huge cross right there. Like I said, she might be a divisionary point for some gamers. But this is Miracle. That's her whole costume, the intricate inlay on the boots, the crest of the cloak and the gauntlets. I'm a big fan of the original artwork that we have here. So anyway, I'm going to close that now. And yeah, so this is who we're talking about now. All right. And hopefully the next time I share screens like that, it will be much more smoother and done in such a way that I actually look like I know what the hell I'm doing. But for right now, that's what you get. My apologies. Sorry. All right. So then now we have the Q&A part. Oh my gosh, we are up to 5 viewers in the live stream. Again, welcome and thank you for taking your time to come out and geek out with us tonight. I think we're going to open up to the Q&A. Now, what we did to kind of speed things up is Michael and I, and then with some input from Chris and Jonah, put together a list of questions that we're going to go through for Miracle. Okay? I'm just going to read through these simply from the script instead of off the live stream. And then we're going to do the Q&A as normal, where you type in your questions and we respond to them, as we can. So the first thing about Miracle, is she really a Christian, or is it just a mask that she wears as a gimmick? Well, now, let's take a second to unload that for a second, all right? Not everything in this game is a gimmick, although there are gimmick characters, and I can't wait to introduce them to you because they're obviously gimmick characters, but Miracle is not one of them. She is a Southern Baptist. She does not believe that the Agnati, or her Agnati, I should say, is God, like capital letter G. She maintains her faith by attending her family church back home as often as possible. So the next question is her superheroism inspired by her Agnati or her own belief? I think this is a good time to reiterate, Agnati do not give a damn what you do with your powers, so long as you maintain the covenant. So her Agnati does not inspire her to do these things. It is her own belief structure that drives her forward. Third question. Are there any other Christian heroes in the Aether Blood Chronicles? Not so far. All right. Of the big three, why is she the pillar of superheroism? I feel like I need to kind of jump back a little bit. The big three in the Aether Blood Chronicles are the Monotone, Anguish, and Miracle. And they represent aspects of a coin. Miracle is the edge of the coin, or Miracle is the positive edge, the superheroic, as it is. Monotone is the absolute edge of the coin. He is an anti-hero or vigilante, however you want to label him like that. Anguish is the bad guy. And I think after the Anguish video that we did, everyone can agree he's a horrible, terrible, no good, very bad person. Yes. And I literally just said that. So why is she the pillar of superheroism? And the answer is a little bit longer of an answer, but we'll get into that. It is she is not, even by a long shot, the strongest of the heroes that are out there. But she provides for the weak and the weary, creating what people really need in that moment. And though her family has means, she does not use money as an answer to all that ails the world. She enjoys getting out into it all, actually getting to know the people that she tries to help, and then help them, even if it's just a comforting word and a shoulder to cry upon. She represents hope. So, awesome question. I love that one a lot. And you really get into her mindset with that question. What is up with the cashew addiction? Every character has their weird quirk, right? Hers is her cashew addiction. When she's going around and doing her heroics and passing out food to people, unless FEMA is there or some other giant agency like that for disaster relief, she's usually pulling out packets of cashews and handing them to people. And some observant people around the world have noticed this. Um, and she's gotten to the point where occasionally, to throw people off, she'll carry beef jerky. But her go-to snack that she carries with her is cashews. It just happens to be her favorite snack. Um, as she puts it in her own words, it's the perfect combination of sweet and salty. So, into the mind of a character. There we went. Next question. What was Miracle's upbringing like? She was born to a family of means and wealth. She was an only child and highly doted upon. But she was also a quote unquote miracle baby, as the parents were told that they would not be able to conceive. That's why she took the name Miracle, for her parents, not for any other reason. All right, next question. Does she have any familiar relations in game? No, she is the only living member of her family at this time who is an Aether. Later in the plot line, in the timeline that we have, she will give birth to another Aether who she names Seth. He, once he takes on his own persona as an Aether, becomes known as Dervish, but later rebuilds himself, remodels himself into a person known as Earthen. But the whole thing about Miracle and her son is the father is surprisingly unknown. And I'm not trying to say anything like immaculate birth or anything like that. There is a father. She doesn't talk about it. She just leaves it as is. So back to the nitty gritty. What are Miracle's powers? She's got a laundry list of them. Strength, stamina, and durability. Durability is her most powerful of her abilities, of her powers, I guess you could say. She heals faster than Deadpool. She can stay in a moment of action without having to regenerate anything. It regenerates that fast. There's no pause for regeneration. It just heals as she is getting hurt. She also has the power of creation, which again, don't take that to biblical means. The creation superpower in this game just allows you to create non-living things. For her, it's usually blankets and pillows and, you know, stuff like that, you know, that she can pass out and help people with in the moment of need. Little known factor of truth. She has the ability to control minds. She's not good at it. So what she does is she manipulates emotion with it, just enough to make people feel guilty when she encounters them. That's how people will look at her and go, "Oh, I'm doing something bad now, aren't I?" Is some people she can't get through to. Other people will drop their weapons right there in front of her and start crying and going, "I didn't mean to do it," and yada yada. And well, it's because she has this power and she's making them feel that way. Not for anything other, not for any other reason. She also has the ability to control weather. She has an improved strength factor, improved stamina. She can fly, and I have an ambulance coming by, so you'll have to forgive me for that. She can fly. She can blast out bolts of pure energy. She can create a positive aura that buffs her allies and heals nearby people that she chooses. And she is also excessively long lived. So, next question is, does Miracle have any villains? None specific, like that she focuses on 100%, but Anguish comes close to being a nemesis. Close to. But there are times that she will drop everything and disregard Anguish if her services are needed elsewhere. She doesn't go looking for fights, and we'll get into that a little bit further down the line. She's also been known to focus her efforts on the disaster relief end due to characters such as Ruin or Leviathan. As well as she has a little bit of beef with Negative Frank because he's got a little bit of a crush on her, and she doesn't like the fact that, you know, he's a thief and that kind of thing. So she just a little bit of beef with him, you know. Does Miracle have any allies? She has quite a few allies. Believe it or not, she is close friends with the Monotone. She also gets along quite well with Verdant, the Veteran, Unity, Patriot Blaze, and Sojourn. All of which are characters that we will be discussing soon-ish. What was Miracle's life like before she became an Aether? She was a Christian missionary, Southern Baptist missionary. And when she was younger, she traveled all throughout Mexico, China, France, Italy, Thailand, and South Africa. That's who she was. She focused on the missionary work, and we're losing viewership here. Hopefully everything's okay. Hopefully I'm not chasing them away with the character like I did with Anguish. Anyway, to carry on, how did Miracle become an Aether? A little bit of darkness here, but I'm not going to dwell on it. She was standing up to a rape gang in South Africa, defending herself and her friends when the Agnati chose to connect with her. Funnily enough, all those men that attacked them are now devout Christians. What was that like when Miracle became an Aether? It's like a 70s grindhouse film. There's no reason to get into it. You know, not over a public viewership like this. There's no reason to get into the detail. It happened. She got past it. She moved on. All right. Next question. Does Miracle have a life outside of being an Aether? Yes, she does. And she keeps that especially quiet. Um, there's only one person who she trusts implicitly to share her private time with. Since becoming an Aether for her was a very public event, most of what she does is in the limelight. So she fights for her private time. Does Miracle have any non-Christian influences? Two, believe it or not. Number one is the Monotone, who is one of her closest friends, who Monotone claims to be a non-denominational with a lot of Zen Buddhist, Taoist, Sufi, and animistic leanings. But she also hangs out with Patriot Blaze a lot, and he's Muslim. So she does spend a lot of time outside of the Christian sphere of religion and whatnot, and she surrounds herself with what she calls good people instead of just Christians. Is Miracle considered? I'm sorry, I don't think I can say this with a straight face. Is Miracle considered to be the Messiah in the Aether Blood Chronicles? Absolutely not. She's just an Aether who happens to be a Christian. She is not intended to be anything more than that. Okay. There are a few cults that worship her, but that has nothing to do with her. She is not involved with them on any level. She discourages them. You know, that's just, it just happens. But yeah, she is just meant to be a Christian superhero, not a Christ-like figure. All right, moving on. And we are coming up on the end here. So if you have questions, get ready, and we will begin to go diving into that here soon. Just a few more to follow up here. What are Miracle's ties with the church, if any? Churches are very friendly towards her, regardless of their denomination, as many have realized that she does not favor one over the next. So there's that. Does Miracle have any government affiliations? Absolutely none whatsoever, and she maintains that she never will. Take that to mean what you want. That's all she says about the subject. 4 questions left. Does Miracle have any special equipment? No, not specifically. However, that cross around her neck is 20 pounds of gold and platinum. She claims to have made it with her powers, but political rivals always cast shade upon it, saying that it represents the church's hold and sway over her every action. Those that decry her being out there trying to help people, and that cross that it represents and everything, they start rambling about the Catholic Church, which oddly she has absolutely no involvement in whatsoever. Go figure. Moving on. I feel like I might be saying something. I might not. You never know. It's just a game, though. It is just a game. Last 2 questions. How does Miracle manage to be a pacifist in a world of violence? Well, that's very simple. Sheer force of will and the subtle use of the control mind power. There you go. You heard it here. Does she mentor, and this is the final question out of the ones that we prepared, but does she mentor any other young Aethers? No, she does not. She is still young herself, and she focuses in on what people call her solo career. Okay. So that puts us at the 40-minute mark. So about 20 minutes of questions. So what I'd like to see now, is just some random questions from the audience, from those of us that are here. If you have questions, I have answers. I'm pulling up the rest of my notes from the book right now so that if I need to refer to them to get direct answers, I can. So, who wants to go first? Set the tone for the night. Give us a great booming way to start the Q&A. And I rhymed and I didn't even mean it. And I don't want any peanuts. Who's going first? Somebody, please. Oh, we're back up to 5 people. Thank you again for joining us. Okay. Anyone have another question about Miracle? I know a few of you mentioned that you had kind of like follow-up questions that you wanted to put out there. So now would be a good time. You probably, okay, Christopher says, I have probably asked this every time, but does she have any sidekicks? Again, no. She doesn't. She doesn't mentor anybody. It is just her. Occasionally she works with other heroes if the problem is big enough, but she does not have anyone like a Robin to her Batman or anything like that whatsoever. No. But thanks for asking the question again. Anybody else? And anyone can ask. I don't want you to think that just because you're not one of the people that ask all the time that you can't ask. If you missed portions of the Q&A and you have questions about this character, please ask. One of these days, I'm waiting for someone to stump me and ask me a question about one of these characters that I'm like, I don't know the answer to that. I'd love to see that happen. Okay. Michael asks, does Miracle have a holy symbol? Well, she does have that 20-pound cross she wears around her neck, but it's not like it's a holy symbol in terms of gameplay. She does not require that to use any of her powers or anything like that. It is just a symbol of her faith. Okay, Jonah follows that up with, give me just a second. Jonah follows that up with, what does the church think about Miracle? It's actually a 2-part question. So, is she universally loved, or are there groups that don't trust her? There are lots of groups that don't trust her. Okay, but it's usually a church by church basis. Every church in her hometown loves her, because they all know her. They all knew her when she was younger. With her friends, some of her friends went to different churches, and she'd go to those churches to be social with her friends and the people that were important in their life and whatnot. So pretty much everybody back home knows who she is. And so there's that. But there are plenty of churches, like, I guess, and again, this is one of those questions that it's like, come on, do you have to put in real world stuff? But yeah, you kind of have to, considering the fact this has a real world feeling setting in this game. The Pope absolutely hates her. Absolutely, completely distrusts every word that comes out of Miracle's mouth. Goes to every extent to say bad things about Miracle, short of decrying her as a demon. So yeah, there are definitely groups that don't trust her. Chris Zeke at all. General questions on the game after Miracle. Questions it will become in a bit. Okay, I think what Chris is trying to say is we're going to do this part of this is for questions and answers on Miracle, and then once we're done with that, we're going to have general Q&A about the game itself. So I think that's what he was trying to say. So thank you for that, Chris. I greatly appreciate it. Anybody else have anything? Anything at all? Chris, what is her anthem? And what are anthems to those that are new? Okay. Let me pull up her character sheet so I can specifically see what her anthems are. And anthems are residual energy that travel between her and her Agnati. When this energy is heard, because it can be heard, there are subsonic components to it that cause the world around it to react. Okay. And this is taking far too long. Why is it taking far too? Okay, I'm getting there. Come on. You know what? This is taking too long. Prepare to fast forward. Preparing to fast forward. Fast forward. Fast forwarding, sir. And we'll just do it this way. And there we go. Brought her character sheet right up. All right. So her anthems are Anthem Ambience. Everybody loves that movie. I mean, seriously. Okay. Her anthems are Anthem Ambience, which basically means there's an ambient nature to this residual effect that we're talking about here. And that's that lights grow brighter when she enters into an area. She has a distinctive anthem, which means that anyone that can hear this sound realizes that it's her. They don't have to see her. They just realize she is in the area. And finally, inspiring anthem, which is an aspect that says everyone that hears the sound gets inspired and wants to do great things, such as help other people, perform things on a grander scale than they would normally, to basically do better things. Just her entering into an area causes these effects. And that's what anthems are. And we could go back and talk about the anthems of other characters, but we'll save that for a later time. So, yeah, great question. Thank you for asking that. Anybody else have anything? We've still got plenty of time in the Q&A. I'd love to see somebody new ask a question. I don't know who's out there. I know 3 of the 4 people are the Right staff and Christopher. I don't know who that 4th person is, though. I wonder. I've got suspicions. Okay. All right. So I got 2 questions here. Chris, what is her strangeness? Because you think it kicks ass. Okay. Her strangeness. I think I skipped this one. Oh, Anthony. Thank you for showing up. I'm glad to see a new face here. I really am. Thank you. I appreciate you taking your time to hang out with us tonight. Tony, my bad. Oh, Tony, are you Chris? Is that your friend? I'm assuming so, the way you guys are talking now. That's awesome. Tony, I appreciate you coming out. Yeah, Chris is, you're pretty sure it is? Well, if it is, Tony, welcome. Chris has said good things about you. Um, he's a squid. All right, let me get back to these questions here. Um, so her strangeness is kick ass. It kind of is. Statues cry when she passes them by. And in certain occasions, they will bleed. But most of the time, it's just tears that are cried. There's a funny enough postscript to this that's not actually in the book, but the tears that are cried are literally miracles. So if you test the tears for DNA, you come back with her DNA. All right, and then yeah, Michael, I thought so. I thought that was a really cool detail to put in there. And then Michael says, "Are there any satanic aethers?" No, no, there are not. Simply because as a Christian, that wasn't something I felt like I wanted to cross, although I come dangerously close to it with the villain known as the Zealot. Um, but that's just something I did not feel comfortable writing myself. If somebody else on, between the two writers wants to do that, I certainly would not stop them. Because it's an equal opportunity world out there. We've got a satanic, or excuse me, we've got a Christian based hero. Why can't there be a satanic one? I just don't want to write that. And that's my personal choice. There could certainly be all over the place. So there are aethers that take on a demonic appearance, but that does not necessarily make them demonic. So yeah. Anybody else? Trying to get us the next 7 minutes at least. Tony, if you're checking us out for the first time here, I think the open Q&A that we'll be starting here soon will be a good chance for you to ask us whatever you want. For right now, we're just finishing up on the Q&A for this specific character. We do this every week. We take a character and do a deep dive into their history and stuff. So, and I've got lots of characters to go through. So, oh, you're here specifically waiting for that. Okay, excellent. So glad to hear that. Thank you very much. So, unless anything else needs to be said, mentioned, or questioned about Miracle, anything at all? Don't force yourself. I mean, if no one else has any other questions, then we'll just go to open Q&A. Is the Pope aware of the Agnati? He's the Pope. I'm pretty sure he is aware of the Agnati. That is not a absolute decided thing. I have not decided what the Vatican's stance on the whole thing is yet, simply because that's something that is going to come more into play with chapter 2 when with the Vosges invasion. Is when the Vatican really stands up and starts doing things, getting involved on that front. So I've got a while before I was going to make that outright decision. But he probably is aware of them at this point, yes. So that was a good question. Thank you for that. Okay. Um, all right. I think you're right, Chris. Let's go ahead and, with 5 minutes to spare, or 4 minutes and change, let's go ahead and go to the open Q&A. I think it's a fair enough time. And besides, we have somebody that came here specifically for that, and I don't want to keep him waiting. So, Tony, this one's for you. Seriously. The Aetherblood Chronicles is a cosmic horror superhero smash up of a tabletop role playing game. So it's not specifically the H.P. Lovecraft mythos, because I've created my own mythos, but creatures like that, the old ones, basically have gone around the entire universe seeding intelligent life with superpowers. They have finally made it to Earth. And now humans are getting powers. And the question is, what is humanity going to end up doing with these powers? How is that going to affect everything else? So there are a lot of questions that come into play, like if one of the big ones that we haven't even tackled yet is, if they've been doing this to intelligent life everywhere, where are those other aethers? And I can't wait to start talking about things like that. Or what do all the governments think about this and whatnot? We touched upon it a little bit today with Miracle. But there's a lot of different ways to look at this. It is a plausibly realistic world setting that I have for this game. So it's one of those situations where everything in the game makes sense for its internal setting. You know what I'm saying? The setting is consistent as far as who thinks what and why. It will all make sense through their own perspectives. And that's kind of how I approached every single bit as I wrote this game. Character sheet, or not character sheet, but character creation can be done in several different ways. The mechanics of the game are modular. You basically plug and play the rules you want to play it easy mode, hero mode, or cosmic mode, which is like the way the game was intended to be played, is called cosmic mode, basically hard mode. And then there are various ways to actually build characters. If you want to do the cheap and fast and quick method, or if you want to do a middle ground, or if you want to go through the entire process and pick your characters point for point. It does not matter how you choose to approach the game, because let's say you and I are playing the game and Chris is running the game. I can make a character on cosmic mode where I spend every point applicable to my own choices. You could be playing on easy mode and went through the quick and dirty character creation process. Our characters are going to be balanced. So Chris doesn't have to worry about balance. He can just run the stories that are there. The mechanics are also very narrative based. You can influence your game world around you by spending various points and taking narrative control of things. And the rules are very, very intuitive. Like if you want to ask a question as far as like, how do I do something in game? You're going about it the wrong way. You should be asking questions like, okay, how specifically do I want to do this? Am I approaching this using strength? Am I approaching this using agility? Whatever. You get to build your dice pools for your actions as you see fit, not as the person running the game sees fit. So if it fits for your narrative of your character to roll a certain something in a certain way, then roll it, because it's just as viable as me rolling something completely different for the same result. So that's the nickel tour, I guess, the 10-cent tour, as Chris says. Yeah, the rule of cool is definitely king in this game. I don't want people to get stuck on the word is written. I want people to have fun with this game. The powers that you can get for your characters are subjective. And when I say that, I mean the fact that there's a list of suggested ways you can use the powers. But if you can think of something that is not listed on there, you can try it. And it's not a let me think about it type of way. No, if you can think about it as far as the nature of that power itself goes, like, for example, let's look at the ability to control fire. Okay. I can throw fireballs. Sure. I can create fire walls. I can turn myself into a fire like being, but can I fly? The book doesn't say so. But anyone that knows anything about characters that control fire will think of characters like the Human Torch and go, yes, that character can fly. So the rules may not exist in the book for it, but there are places in the book to go and say, okay, with my powers rated as they are, if I do want to fly, this is how fast I can fly. So you kind of build your power stunts as you want. You don't have to spend XP for it or anything like that. It's just the way you want to present your character. If you want to limit your characters in certain ways, like the best example I like to give is the ability to control animals. All right. You can limit yourself and say you can only control cats or wolves or something like that. And that's fine. Or you can control all animals. You're going to end up being just as balanced at the end of the day. So that's kind of the 10-cent tour. I would like to open the floor to you for questions to me, to the writers, to Christopher, to any of us, as far as what you'd like to know. Absolutely correct. There is no set class. Everything is point by. You put the points or you make the selections the way you want to. No matter how, no matter what method you want, there's no fighter class. There's no conjurer class. There's no rogue class. You take the skills and powers and whatnot that you want. You build the character that you want to play, not what the book forces you to play. Being new to this, we'll have to look at the rule. I think Chris sent me a link. Um, well, if you want to expand upon it right now, whatever. I don't know what it was that Chris sent you. An example of one of the pre-made characters in a playtest has an angelic appearance as one of the powers. One person takes that in a church way. In the church way I played it, that dude, English is your friend. Takes that in the church way I played it, as in the guy was in full Space Marine getup. Um, yeah, I actually remember that. Um, um, but you can flavor your character however you want to. I guess was the point of what Chris was getting at with that. Yeah, one person played as traditional armor. I played as a different angel appearance. Yeah, I mean, it's how you display um, how you display your powers and how they manifest in your appearance is completely up to you. You have a lot of descriptive power in your hands as a player. Oh, you passed in the playtest stuff. Wait, not the playtest uh, core rulebook, did you? First of all, if you did pass in the playtest book, the older version, okay, you said in the older version, that's completely fine, but it's not accurate. It is out of date as sin, man. It is incredibly not accurate to the game model as it exists now. There's a lot of stuff that's been added to the game to make it better. Um, so yeah, I mean, there's more to it than that. Also, it seems we have one other person here with us. We're currently doing an open Q&A um, about the game, so feel free to chime in with any questions you may have. Okay, Tony says you mentioned angelic. What were the other two? What does each one mean? Um, there are. He was taking influence from other types of characters from other sorts of games and basically building them in various playtest stages for the Eighth Blood Chronicles. Like one of them was basically a Space Marine, is what he was trying to explain. And then there were others. I know Brock had a character that had like granite wings and he could turn into stone. Um, so it means, as far as my understanding of your question, it means exactly what you want it to mean. It's just appearance. And I don't know, I might be misunderstanding the question, and maybe that's something that you and Chris can talk about. Um, of course, with this being a text-based format, I can only take in what you can type up. But I will say this: if you jump onto my Discord server, um, then hit me up for a conversation. I am always up to talk about this game. And me and Chris, I guarantee you, would have no problem jumping into a chat with you at any point in time and answering any further questions in a more conversational mode. You are on the Discord. Okay. Hey, awesome. Awesome. I was wondering who that was. Uh, so yeah, feel free. Um, feel free to, until this Kickstarter gets too unwieldy and we get too many backers and stuff like that. For the time being, I am incredibly open to just, hey, shoot me a message. We can talk about the game. It's just once we start getting, if, excuse me, we're lucky enough to start getting 50 or more backers. Excuse me. If we get to that point, it's going to be harder for me to have a personal life and maintain conversations like that. But for the time being, it's very simple for me to just take a few minutes out of my day and talk about something that's very personal to me. So, but these Q&As are specifically for other people just like you who don't know anything about the game to just chime in and be like, hey, I have a question about this. What does this mean? You know, what is exactly do you mean by no, do not apologize. Do not apologize, okay? I don't care what for. Oh, you kind of dragged him into it. Well, I mean, it's no big deal. You know, if this is something completely new to you, don't worry about it because I love teaching new people games. Yes, you did, Brett. Yes, you did. Yeah, I mean, just any general question you have. I mean, like if my little 10-cent breakdown of the game sparked anything that you may want to know, feel free to ask. Like if there are direct comparisons you want with other role-playing games, that sort of stuff. I realize you don't know anything about the game. I realize the fifth person in this chat may not know anything about the game and may have just shown up by accident, which is completely cool. I will answer any question about the game that will be put to me. So don't apologize. Seriously, don't apologize. It's all good. Did I ever consider having occupations or backgrounds in the game? That does exist in the game. Are you sure you've read the book? Yeah. There is a section of rules in there called backgrounds, and that is for what your character did before they became an Aether. Full system. Gives you a couple of skills, an ability score bonus, some fate trait bonuses, and boom, there you go. You're off running. Okay. Tony, I've started playing D&D back in, you started playing D&D back when I was born. I started playing D&D very early myself, plus a D&D, yeah, Pathfinder, 40K, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. So you've been playing D&D. Hey, I'm right behind you probably. I mean, it's all good. Don't worry about that. I'm usually the oldest guy in the chat. You just retired in March. Okay, yeah, see. You know, but yeah, don't worry about that. When I actually first started playing with the white box for the chainmail and the original Dungeons and Dragons when they had like 3 classes and stuff like that. And then I played all the box sets and everything like that. But I actually got started with Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay in '82. Not the war games and the miniatures and whatnot, but the roleplay. You still have your chainmail instruction book. Never lose that, my friend. Never lose that. Yeah, it is. It is. So here's my question to you guys. Mr. Hidden. Well, hello, Mr. Hidden. You are indeed hidden to me. You started playing in the early 80s with AD&D, also picked up the box sets. Mr. Hidden, thank you for joining us with the talk here. We're basically an open conversation Q&A about my game, the Aetherblood Chronicles. But yeah, we're just chit-chatting, trying to get to know each other a little bit. So thank you for showing up. Thank you for spending some time with us. If you have any questions about my game, feel free to ask. Anything whatsoever, we'll discuss. If you just want to hang out with us and just talk about games for a little while, we can do that too. Although, what I would like to do, if you guys just want to chat, what would probably be best is if we end the live stream and go and just talk on my server. That probably. Oh, you are a backer. You are a backer. Oh, really? Mr. Hidden? Let me take a look here because I am not remembering seeing you. Well, I'm not going to take a look. I mean, if you say you're a backer, I trust you. But yeah, I mean, the whole live stream point is for literally live Q&A. If we're moving away from that and just want to chat, I say we go to my Discord server and just chat. Because I don't want this stream to run any longer than necessary, because some people will show up and go, oh, they're just talking about D&D during a live stream that's supposed to be for this game, and that's not what I'm here for. So, all right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and end this live stream real quick. Don't jump out of chat yet, because there was a surprise I was saving for the very end. We talk about this game every week. I do update videos and update posts usually one other time during the week, sometimes twice. I like to stay engaged with everybody, even though there's not a lot of engagement to be had right now. I want people to know about the game as much as possible. So, in trying to entice people to get further interested, I'm going to reveal one fact right now to anyone who's watching this video now or in the future. If you stuck with us this long, here's that fact. Everything as far as the powers, as far as the Agnati, as far as the Aethers, it's all because of magic. The Agnati are creatures of magic. The powers that are given are magical in nature. The Agnati are living and breathing entities infused with magic, infected, some would say, with magic. So there's a little something, a little tidbit. And the book and the stories and the adventures go into that a little bit more in detail. But that's just something to consider as you're looking through everything. If that is true, and you start looking through the book and notice some other things, you can figure out some important plot points further down the line. So I'm going to leave it at that. Everybody, thank you very much. This has been episode 4. We've been talking about Miracle for the Aetherblood Chronicles. My name is Edric Padraig. The writing staff was here tonight, along with 3 of the backers for this project. It has been a wonderful time talking about the game, getting to know people. And right now, we're going to go jump over on my server, and we're going to talk some more. So thank you for coming out. Thank you for watching this video whenever you do watch it. Take care. Happy gaming. And we will see you next time. Till then,